Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So today we will learn about loops. Loops can be a confusing concept to beginner programmers, but hopefully after this video, you guys will have a much better understanding of it. Okay, so let's dive into it. I have my IDE open. This is PyCharm I'm using for Python. We'll first start off with simple for loops. Let's start off with that. Let's say if you want to print hello world 3 times. We can simply copy and paste it 3 times. So we have 3 times hello world. If you run it, we can print it out 3 times. But now let's say if I want to print it 100 times, what's going to be a fastest way to do that? One of the ways you could use is for loops. So the way we write for loops in Python is there's a couple of ways. So one of the first ways is we can use a range. So we can do for I in range. In range, the first what we define is a starting point. So we're going to say start off from 0 and then go up to 100. And there's an optional field, there's an optional third field here, which is called step. In step, we can say, how many steps you want to take. So by default, the value is 1. We don't need to define that. Now, if I do print hello world, we can print this out 100 times. So we can even label it. If we do something like this, we can see we're going to get up to 100. So you're going to see 99 because the way it works is to start from index 0. So 0 is inclusive. Okay, now, so what if we want to, let's say, increment not by 1, but let's say by 2 or 3 or whatever increments you want to take or steps. The way to do that is we, again, do for I in range. So we can honestly use any variable here. We don't have to use I. We can use J or K or, LM, whatever we want. Now let's just go with J. We're going to, again, start from 0. And we're going to, let's say we want to go to 10. And let's say I want to increment by 2. So skip 2. So go from 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 6 to 8, and 8 to 10. In the third field, we can put a step here. We can label this as 2. And then we can print. So let's test it out. We can say stepping by, let's say J. So now if you print this out, let me just comment this out. I don't want to see a bunch of hello worlds. Okay, so I have one error. Let me comment this out as well. That's why. So this is one of the benefits of an IDE as well. You can see where the errors are. It tells you the line number. IDEs are really beneficial. So over here, we can see we were stepping from 0 to 2, 4, 6, 8. What if we want to do 3? So we can go up to 3. And go to 9. And then let's say 5. It should print that only once. 0 and then 5. This is another way to do the for loop with the step function. Another type of loop I want to go into is a for each loop. Now, Python doesn't really have a for each loop like Java, but it works, very similar to Java. So basically for each, it's supposed to iterate over a list or a set or a map. And the way it works is let's just define our list. Let's define our, dummy list with elements, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with 5 elements. Okay. We can iterate over this list in a couple of ways. The first way is the way we did the hello world. So for example, for I in range 0, this is very important. We're starting from 0. The reason we start from 0 is because in a list or array in any language, it's index base 0. So what that means is this value 1 is stored at index number 0. Now 2 is stored at index 1, 3 at index 2, 4 at index 3, and 5 at index 4. We always want to start from index 0 if you want to get the first element. We want to start from the beginning of the list, okay? So we start from 0, and we go up to the size of the list. So size of the list is 5. And the way we can do that is we use a length function, so len, and you can wrap that around within our list. So we can print this out for print my list is equal to. Now we want to access the elements inside the list. The way we do that is we get our list object, which is my list. We wrap it around a bracket, and then we go inside I. So now I is saying, you know what? I is printing out, iterating from 0 to 5, or 0 to 4, I should say. Okay, so if you run this, there you go. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got all the elements within the list. Let me comment this out. You can even get the index. So let's just print out the index as well. Over here, we can see index is equal to I. Okay, let's run this. You can see, you know, at index 0, the element was 1. At index 1, the element was number 2. At index 3, the element was 4. Okay, so that's how it works. So for example, let's just say, you know what, get me element at index number 4. So we can do that. Let's see. So now what's it going to be? At index number 4, it will be 5. So we can get that out. So my list 4. So if you run that, we're going to get 5. Let me comment this out so we don't see that mess. We got 5. So for example, let's say if I do 5, watch, it's going to throw an error. Index is out of range. Why? Because the size of list is 4 or 5, I should say. The size of list is 5, but since it goes from 0 to 4, so at number 5, there's nothing there. It's empty. So that's how we get out of range. Okay, now let's go into for each. The best way to iterate over a list is this way. So for, let's just say I can define L in my list. So it's going to take the my list object and get each element out. So it's 1, 2, and store it into this variable L. So we can print out that variable, print my list is equal to, let's say, L. We're gonna get, oopsie, I did not comment that out. That's why. There you go. We got all the elements within the list. So if we add, let's say 6, 10, 2000, that, let's run this again. We're getting all the elements within the list. Okay. Now, if you want to, let's say, only give me elements, from, only give me the first 5 elements within this list, first 5 elements, okay? So we could do this. For 0 to 5, you can do this. Give me the 5 elements. This is the way I would do it. It's gonna give you the first 5 elements from 0 to 5, okay? I'm gonna comment that out. The first 5 elements. Give me the first 3 elements. Go from 0 to 3. There you go, 3. So pretty simple, not too bad. The last type of loop I'm going to go into is a while loop. So while loop is a condition-based loop. So basically what that means is this loop will keep on running until that condition is met. So for example, let's just say, I have while true. While true, print it is true. Let me comment all this stuff out. So now watch what's going to happen. It's going to keep on running. See, it's going to keep on running infinitely. It's not going to stop. Why? Because there's no condition telling it to, don't run. There's no condition setting it to false. So it's going to keep on running. So one way we could do it is you can say, you know what? We can create a Boolean variable with false. Okay. We can use this variable here. Actually, let's just set this to true. Now, if you want to only print it once, we can say flag is equal to false. So now it's going to only print it once. Now the way it's working is it's going to first evaluate, set the variable to true. It's going to go into the while loop. It checks, okay, hey, what's the value of flag? It checks, yep, it's true. Okay, go inside the loop. It's going to print this statement out. It is true. Then it's going to set the value of the variable flag to false. Then it goes back to the loop again. It goes back to the loop, checks it. Hey, what's the value of flag? hey, it's false. Okay, well, while flag is false, exit the loop. We can't go inside the loop because flag is false. We can even check this in a debugger. So I'm going to set this breakpoint here. Now I'm going to have a separate video on how breakpoints and debugging works in IDEs. It's extremely important. So I'm going to have a separate video dedicated to that. But for now, let's check this out. So here we see our flag value, bool, which is set to true. Now I'm going to single step through this, okay? So now it's going to print out this, and when inside the loop, it's going to print this out, okay? On the console, we can see it is true. Now look at the debugger, look at the value of flag, it's true, right? The moment I step over this, flag got set to false. Then it goes inside the while loop, it checks, hey, what's the value of flag? It's false. Okay, it's false. Then it's going to skip this loop. It's not going to go inside this loop. It's going to skip it. Okay, and that's it. So we can do another one. So let's say, what if flag, this right now, this is evaluating to, hey, go inside the loop when flag is true. But let's say, what if it's false? Well, what if we want to run something when it's false? In Python, we can use something called a not. So while not flag, what this means is basically while flag is not true. Okay, while flag is not true, then go inside the loop. So now if we run this, we're not going to go inside the loop. Watch. It doesn't go inside the loop. Now let's set this to false, okay? So now it's saying, hey, while flag is not true. So while flag is basically saying while flag is false, go inside this statement. And over here, I'm going to set this to true because if it's going to be false, it's going to run this infinitely, okay? So now it's going to print out this statement. There you go. So we can also do this. We can also evaluate a condition if it's set to false. So let's do another example. Okay, let's define a variable count is equal to 0. Now let's set the while loop. Now we can say, hey, while count is, let's say, less than 5. Okay. While it's less than 5, I want you to print out the count. Count is, let's print out the count. And we're going to increment the count. So count is equal to count plus 1. Another way we could do it, which is a shortcut way, we can do something like count plus equals 1. Both of these statements are exactly the same thing. This is just a short way of writing it. So let me just comment this out. When we run this, you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the reason it did not print out 5 is because why? When it got to count 4, when count was, let's say, 4. Now 4 is less than 5, it's going to print this out. Then it's going to go into the next iteration where it sets count is equal to 4 plus 1. It becomes 5. Now it checks, hey, well, count is 5 less than 5? No, it's not. 5 is equal to 5. It's not less than 5, so don't go inside the loop. If you want to print out the 5, you could do something like this. Less than or equal to. Now it's going to print out 5. Now again, I'll set the debugger there. We can step through this and see how it's working. We can see the value of count is equal to 0. We're going to go inside this. Now watch this. Now it's going to start incrementing the count. Count became 1. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. Okay, go again. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. Increment the count again. Is 3 less than 5? Yep. Is 4 less than 5? Yes, it is. Go inside the loop. Is 5 less than 5? No, it's not less than 5, but it is equal to 5 because why? We have less than or equal to. Okay, it's going to go inside the loop. Then it checks, oh, it's 6 less than 5, less than or equal to 5. No, it's greater than. It's going to exit the loop. It's not going to go inside the loop. So that's one way. So these are the 3 basic loops in Python. We got the for loops we went through, the for each. There's no really for each in Python, but it's very similar to other languages, which is mainly used to iterate over a list or a set or maps any data structures. And the last loop was a while loop. Hopefully this helped you all get a better understanding of loops. I know when I first started programming, I struggled quite a bit with loops and how all these different loops worked. I'm going to have a very similar video in Java as well for those who want to learn Java. Concept will be pretty much the same, just slightly different syntax. Alright, take care.